Hello, beautiful guys. How are you all doing on this horrible old Sunday? Yeah, it is Sunday today, Sunday morning. So today I'm going to tell you, beautiful ones, a little story. I am. So we need to start this story in the winter of 2000, so 24 years ago. And the scene of this story is London, South London, near Crystal Palace. And it's probably around midnight. Yeah, probably around between midnight and 1 a.m. in the morning. And the second I decide to start filming, someone decides to start doing DIY next door. They don't do it for that. They honestly, they don't do it any other time. But I'm sure that they're listening with the wall, to the wall, listening to the wall, at the wall with a glass, and they're thinking, that man next door is just be filming, so we'll start hammering, shall we? I don't think anyone would do that to me, would they? Paranoia, perhaps. So yeah, this story, as I said, winter 2000, possibly around February, March time, so pretty cold. South London, Crystal Palace, about 1 a.m. There's two chaps walking home. They've just been out for a brilliant night together, Sunday night, I should have said. And they're just going up a steep incline to where one of the chaps lives. They're holding hands because they're gay, although they're only friends. I should point that out to you, beautiful ones. And as they get to the top of the hill, these two chaps approach them, and one of them starts saying to one of the guys, "Excuse me, do you have the time? Oi, mate, do you have the time?" Now, the chap that they say this to is instantly suspicious. He's not from London, but why would a Londoner not be suspicious? But you know what I'm saying. But so the chap that's asked what the time is, in fact, they both asked what the time is, but so one of the chaps starts to get suspicious. Something doesn't feel right, in other words. So he turns around to his friend and says, "We need to go now." So they both start walking much, much faster. The two chaps that have approached them initially and asked them what the time was close in on them. And before they know where they are, both these chaps are being mugged very, very, very badly. The two assailants, should we call them assailants, had knives and truncheons. Big knives and big truncheons, and both chaps were beaten around the head. Both chaps were attempted to be stabbed. One of the chaps was actually stabbed. He received 65 stitches to his head. The other chap managed to get away. Luckily for him, perhaps not luckily, because he shouldn't have been put in that situation in the first place. And the chap that ran away, that got away from the assailants, went to a big block of flats, which was just nearby, and just started panically stabbing all the buttons on, those entry buttons, trying to get someone's attention, basically. He was so scared that he started to break the glass on someone's window because he needed to get away. He was absolutely terrified. Eventually, one of the assailants broke away from the affray or the attack, which was happening on the pavement, and came to the chap that was trying desperately to get into this building, to raise the alarm in this building, and coshed him on the back of the head with a truncheon. This chap then fell to the ground, and this chap, the assailant, started kicking him really badly in the back. And then the lights started coming on in the apartment building. The chap that had got away had managed to raise the alarm on some level. So yeah, and an ambulance arrived, possibly within about 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. I think the ambulance service was much better back then. Now it would be like something like 3 hours. Do you know what I mean? But so yeah. The chap that had the 65 stitches in his head and his body was nearly killed. The other chap had 5 or 6 stitches on his head, I believe, from the cosh. In fact, I know he did, because, well, the chap was me. The chap that ran away was me, and the other chap who was nearly stabbed to death was my good friend Stephen at the time. We were both taken to hospital, Croydon Hospital, I believe it was, accident and emergency department. And he obviously went and had whatever they did, went and fixed him up. And I can't remember whether we went to theatre or, in fact, I've purposely blocked most of that evening out of my mind now. because it feels like it was yesterday. So, and I know it was 24 years ago, but it's something like that really, really stays with you. Whilst I was in hospital, I obviously the nurses asked to if I wanted to call anyone, and I asked my flatmate Helen, who was a very good friend, to come, and she arrived very, very quickly, bless her. And she stayed with me all night, and then the next day we went back to her flat where I was staying, because we were both nurses. Helen was a fully qualified ITU nurse and I was a student nurse. This was my second year of nurse training, and my good friend Helen drove me home. And I remember I was wearing this white fleece sort of thing at the time. I looked like a polar bear, and the back of it was just covered in blood, absolutely drenched in blood. So the first thing she did when she got me home was to take the top off and put it in the bath, because she didn't want it to get stained. And I just remember being sat on the edge of her sofa, just feeling like the most undescribable feeling in the world, because two people had violated me and my friend in the most extreme way possible, the most horrific way possible. And Helen was amazing. She was just the most kindest, loveliest, slightly forceful girl I think I've ever met, because she knew that if I started to languish in the apartment, in the flat, which I quite easily would have done, because I then had this horrific agoraphobia where I just couldn't leave the flat. That went on for 6 months, but Helen very gently tried to coax me out. She took me outside onto the porch one day, and then slowly but surely she took me a few feet more and a few feet more and a few feet more, until I felt safe enough to then not resume normal life, because normal life would never, ever, ever be the same again. But yeah, so, and then about a week after the incident, I was contacted by the police again, and victim support, and they came out and they showed me this portfolio of mugshots. But of course I couldn't remember what the chaps looked like. To me, they were the most terrifying people in the world, but my mind had blacked them out. So I just couldn't remember what they looked like at all. I still can't to this day. But the whole point behind this video today is just to let people know out there that men too can be mugged, obviously. Men too suffer. We do, although we don't really speak. Most men don't. I speak about it all the time. I do. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Perhaps a little bit too much, and I have a tendency to overshare. Very true too. But most men keep things quiet. They do. It's always been the social norm, hasn't it, that men are strong and big, and that they're not to show any weakness at all. Although I had no qualms about showing any weakness when the incident happened, because after 6 months, because it took me 6 months, I think, something like that, off my nursing course, I went back and I finished my nursing course, became a fully qualified nurse. And I have had enduring injuries from the attack. I didn't think that they were related at the time, but I've always had a back injury, yes. Sometimes memory issues as well. Now, I don't know whether that's psychological or physical from the bop on the head, but my memory used to be perfect, and now it's maybe not quite so good. And from that day to this day, I have an enduring terror of darkness. It's just something which is now there and will always be there for me or with me. Terror of darkness, which is why from that day to this, I have always slept with a bathroom light on wherever I am in the world. In UK, because I don't really travel outside the UK as much as I used to when I was a lot younger. But so I remember maybe 2 or 3 years, possibly a little bit longer than that, after the incident had happened. I was obviously nursing then. I think it was in Brighton, can't remember, but again, short memory. But yeah, I went to back to my mum's and dad's in Cambridge, and I was asleep. I was sleeping in the spare room. And obviously I'd left the lamp on, because you've just heard me say, haven't you, that I have this terror of darkness and need light at night time. My mum crept in because I was asleep, and she turned the light off. And I think the flick of the light or something that woke me up. I woke up screaming my head off, and I kicked my mum in the stomach, which is just the most awful thing for anyone to have to admit to. That it was a knee-jerk reaction. Do you see what I'm saying? It was just an instinctive thing, because that's how terrified the incident has made me from that day to this. Yeah. And when I lived in Ely, I just would not go out after dark. I just wouldn't do it. So after dark, I should say, not after dark. After dark, I just wouldn't go out after dark. And when I moved to Hereford last February, I decided to try and put all of that behind me, to move on, and try and heal, I suppose, in some way. And so very, very slowly but surely, I started going out more and more and more at night time, granted with David at first. And then I thought, well, nothing's happened to me yet. Do you see what I'm saying? So I thought that perhaps if I then went out on my own, just to a short, I think I went to the Co-op or something, which is only about half a mile away from where we both lived, and nothing happens, then I could then maybe start going further and further and further afield, which is what I did. And then obviously it was winter time like it is now, so it was pitch black by about 4 p.m. We are in the UK at the end of the day. Why did I say that? No idea. So yeah, so even today I still sleep with I have to sleep with a light on, because the minute I'm plunged into darkness, I just feel this all-consuming panic rising over me, that there's something out there which is trying to kill me, in other words. Yeah, it's just trying to hurt me. Do you see what I'm saying? So even with David lying next to me, I still need that bathroom light on. And I know he doesn't really like me having the bathroom light on. In fact, bless him, he makes sure the bathroom door's pulled to, the bedroom door's pulled to, so we're not flooded with light. But you would think with a 6-foot man lying next door to me that I would feel safe at night time. And to a degree I do. Time has taken care of most of the fear, I suppose, but I'm still terrified most of the time. But I suppose what I'm trying to demonstrate here is the fact that there's so much more than just surface to people. So much more goes on beyond the surface with people we meet on a daily basis, people we have in our lives. And we all have backstories, and we all have fears, we all have terrors, we all have joy, we all have happiness in our lives, we do. So in many, many respects, what happened on that fateful March day 24 years ago has changed my life. Maybe for the better. I don't know why I said that, but I'm a very positive sort of person, and I like to make the most out of each situation. For years, I couldn't even go anywhere near trying to make the best out of a horrific situation like that. I just couldn't. Although now I think I have learned a lot from being mugged in March 2000. My friend Stephen and I, that night, we went separate ways, and we have never spoken since, which is a deep, deep, deep regret of mine, because the man was lovely. So I suppose really the next time you come across someone and you snap to, you're quick to judge them, just take a few minutes and ask yourself, what is this person's backstory? What have they been through in their lives? What's brought them to this situation they're in now? And generally 10 times out of 10, every single person has had some kind of horrific experience in their lives, and it can profoundly, profoundly, profoundly change you as a person. The mugging in 2000 certainly changed me as a person forever. I will never, ever, ever be the same man I was before that night. I should say my wonderful bubby David has been amazing about it, totally understanding, and just fantastic. So telling people helps. It just does. So telling you lot's hard though. It really, really is, because obviously I'm reliving something which I shelved or blocked out of my mind for many, many years. And I'm even remembering details now. I can still smell the blood, and I can still see my friend lying there with, yeah, okay. I better go now, guys. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that I'm so sorry that this has been a really, really, really possibly depressing, hopefully enlightening video for you. Certainly lets you know a little bit more about me and why I am the way I am. But yeah, My upcoming video is definitely a beauty video. I was in B&M the other day and I had this huge spot on my nose. In fact, there's probably still a remnant of it now. Yep, there it is. It's horrible, isn't it? So I went into B&M and B&M Hereford, that is, and I went to buy concealer. So I got this concealer, which is the AOC concealer, a really, really lovely glowing concealer in quite a close match to my skin. But as I was just checking out, there was this lovely little girl, lovely lady on the counter at the tills called Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte, how are you? And she said to me, she said, well, that's a new range or something like that. She hadn't seen the AOC range before. Just checking that. That's exactly what it's called. That's how bad my memory is sometimes. And Charlotte said to me, and I said to her, yeah, they've only got concealers, no foundations, primers and so on and so forth they had. And she said, what's it for? And I said, well, can you see that thing growing out of my nose? That's what it's for. She said, try green eyeliner first. And I was like, wow, that's a brilliant, genius idea. So a few days ago, I went and got this, which is a green eyeliner. This is the NYX green eyeliner. Put a little dot of it, there's a tutorial on the way anyway, guys. So huge thanks to Charlotte at B&M and hello to Charlotte at B&M Hereford too. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll shoot the other video either later on today or tomorrow or the next time I get a day off. Possibly it'll be a week away or something like that. I am trying to film around my work schedule, although I'll get the video to you very, very soon anyway. Take care. Remember, I love you all very, very much. And next time, don't judge a book by its cover and try and remember that everyone has a backstory. Okay, take care.